Welcome back. This is the second segment of my video on the review of the book The Last Mughal Warrior in Love by Aditi Mukherjee. As I indicated before, that this book is about unexplored phase of Aurangzeb, his life, which is not talked about in the history. The history has always shown Aurangzeb to be a very cruel ruler, but this book brings about the love life of Aurangzeb, about his family and what really went behind his thinking. And it's all brought out very beautifully in the book. There are very few books which go to the length of showing the graphic accounts of the situations as Aditi has done in this book. When she describes a particular scene, she talks about like the color of the drapes, the color of the how where Aurangzeb was sitting, and what kind of bed it was, or what kind of throne it was. And it talks about the forest, it talks about the trees, it talks about the rivers. It is a graphic account. It is as close as possible, like to seeing a movie. So when in the end, Aditi writes in her book that it took 2 years of her work, of her research. I think it is a splendid job she has done. Aurangzeb was not a very favored child of his father, Jahangir. It is also shown in the book as to how Aurangzeb had preference of other children over Aurangzeb. And it shows how powerful Prince Dara was, and he was able to win the love of Jahangir, and how Dara used to complain about Aurangzeb to bring him down in the eyes of his father. Clearly shows that Aurangzeb was not close to his siblings. He had respect for Jahanara, the elder sister, and he was also kind of there was some lot of closeness between him and the younger princess Roshnara. It also shows that when Aurangzeb lived with his grandparents in Lahore, this was the time when Aurangzeb, along with his siblings, were taken as prisoners by Jahangir, who was really advised by Nur Jahan to take that action because they were really the pawns when Shah Jahan rebelled against Jahangir. It was during this time, as written in the book, And said, as is said by Aurangzeb in the book, he had, as a child, seen the debauchery of Jahangir. The rooms where opium was freely available to him and the women around him. And this was purposely done by Nur Jahan to make Jahangir a drug addict and addicted to the woman so that she could have free hand in ruling the state. This really brought Aurangzeb close to as being very close to religion, and he was like it like a Muslim, a true Muslim, used to do his 5 prayers, and he used to do everything what a Muslim was expected to do. This important aspect, when he saw the debauchery, he saw all his siblings, or even his grandfather, his father, indulging with women and opium, he took the other path of righteousness. It is true that he was not very kind to the Hindus, but as the history has it, he was a true Muslim and a die-hard Muslim. There are different accounts of his cruelty towards the people who were opposing him. In fact, the way the book starts is about the famous scene of Dara being taken as a prisoner on the street of what is now Chandni Chowk, and which is really a very authenticated part of the history. I myself, I have myself read about it, and a very extensive account in the book by Bernier Travels. It is not a fiction. It clearly says how Dara was paraded on the street of Chandni Chowk, and Dara was known for his generosity. And there is a place where a beggar says to him, "Oh, you are a bankrupt yourself now, so what can you give to anybody?" And Dara takes off his jacket and throws at him, and he says, "You can have it." It shows where the book also has an account how he was beheaded. Dara was beheaded, and his head was put on a silver platter, and sent to his imprisoned father and sister in Agra fort, where they were imprisoned. And he writes a letter to his father saying that Dara deserved it. The book starts really with his cruelty, but it goes on to show when he's made Subedar of the Deccan in Burhanpur, he meets this girl, Hira, slave girl, and he's really infatuated by her, so much so he goes to his aunt and asks that she be given to him. Now, she was a, she was in the harem of Mir Khalil, who was the army general in the Deccan and said to be close to Shah Jahan because Shah Jahan and Mir Khalil were co-brothers. Their wives were sisters. His wife Saliha was the aunt of Aurangzeb. And Saliha says to Aurangzeb, you should forget about Hira because your uncle will never give her to you because it is unconventional that in a harem a woman is given to somebody else. I'm going to end this segment here and I'll come back to you with another segment, the third part of the video. Stay tuned and I'll be back. Thank you.